One of the biggest lessons I probably learned from the teaching course this class was the nested lives theory, and how so many different things affects our students' process or ability to learn. Their academic world, their social world, their cyber world, all these things tie together to help make connections to help our students learn. And for me, that was really important and really deep. And I've actually kind of considered that time and time again since that class has taken place. Um, Mainly for a number of reasons. One, because of the context that I work in. I work and I teach in Chicago, Illinois, and the murder capital of the United States. I am working within 3 junior high schools and also teaching at a nonprofit working with high schoolers, well, junior high students all the way to college students in the 13th most dangerous neighborhood within this city. And there's so many different things that tie together to um, create our students' context here. And there's so many areas that I have to look at as an instructor in order to just reach a student. And so sometimes, before taking this class, before being taught about these 3 worlds of childhood, sometimes I would just be focused on the academic. I'm wondering why the students weren't learning the specific task at hand. Um, Wondering, why they couldn't focus on whatever were trying to learn at the moment. And so when I started thinking about the nested lives and the 3 worlds of childhood, it made me change my approach to my students, and to find out that Maslow's hierarchy of needs and this need to be safe and feel like they belong and loved and all these things kind of tie together into this nested lives theory, into how my students respond. Sometimes my students can't be focused or aren't focused on learning something academic because there's so much going on socially outdoors. Sometimes we need to address a shooting that might have taken place the weekend before, where 3 young men, like this last weekend, 3 young men were shot. And one of them being one of my former students, and having to address those things and really deal with some of the issues that they're going with outside of the classroom in order to really relate within the classroom, and using those things, using what's going around with them, the positive and the negative, to challenge them to go forward. So to challenge them to do more, to learn, to focus. And so my goal there is to take what they see around them in their social world, in their cyber world, in their academic world, and to extend their thought process to believing that, hey, if we focus academically, if I focus on character and things of that nature, then I may have an opportunity to be a light in this community, to go do great things, graduate from college if need be, in an area where 47% of our men in this community are ex-cons, and only 3% of the young men in the North Lawndale community of Chicago actually graduate from college. The statistics in the world seems against them. And so to extend their view, to broaden their horizon, to take them places and introduce them to parts of culture that they might not have experienced, even in Chicago, has just made them realize that, hey, this world is bigger than what I thought. Maybe I want to study a little bit more in school. Maybe I want to work a little harder in my classwork, because I've realized that there's a different social world that I could be a part of, that I don't have to go through the things that I go through every day. Um, or, there are people who educate themselves and do well, and then they decide to come back to this community and be a light, and I can be one of those people. And so my goal is to, talking about extending and challenging our students, is to extend their world view of how things can be in the world abroad, and even in this community if people dedicate themselves to it. And then to challenge them to be those people, um, to go out, to believe, to hope beyond hope, that they can be a part of the change. And so that is almost impossible to do unless I realize that their worlds are complicated. It's more than just academic when they come into a classroom. You have no idea what they've been through or what they've seen that day or that weekend, or what they've gone through with parents on drugs or whatnot. And if that's not addressed, if you don't address the whole person, if you address a student as only a student and not a person, then you miss um, the treasure that is there. And not only are you then able to just teach them arithmetic or something like that, but you could teach them lessons that will last them a lifetime. You could teach them resiliency. You could teach them about hope. And those things, I've found help them want to do better academically, want to learn. If I make my classroom a safe space because I understand that everywhere else in this neighborhood isn't, then I am incorporating the fact. If I make it clear this is safe, this is safe, this is safe, then they can know that, hey, this is one place where I can have hope and safety, and that can help produce the atmosphere for learning. So probably the biggest lesson I've learned is the nested lives, and creating that net to kind of hold them, and that these three worlds of childhood, they don't have to work against each other, but there are ways to connect the lessons of all so that the children benefit from it.